had a dream that one day I would become one of the best players in the world in tennis. I grew up with tennis. My parents and my sister were playing in a club, and I started to take my first lesson at the age of 9. Now, when I really started to dream about becoming one of the best tennis players in the world, was actually a little bit before, when I watched for the first time the French Open final between Chris Evert and Martina Navratilova. I was a huge fan of Chris Evert. I just wanted to be like her. She inspired me by her attitude, the way she behaved on the court, and the way she played. So I was like, oh, I want to be one day also at the French Open, being able also to be with the best player in the world. So I started to take my first lesson at the age of 9, and after a few months, I played my first tournaments. I was very successful very quickly, and I was winning and winning. And then finally, at the age of 14, the technical director of the Tennis Federation came and watched me. He was the one who was going to decide, does she get the financial support or not? Does she have sufficient qualities to be able to make it? And I hoped that it was going to be the right answer. But unfortunately for me, he said that I didn't have the level to be able to be supported by the federation. So I get like two choices. Either I believe in him and I just play on the national level and I stop dreaming, or I keep dreaming and I go for my dream, which is what I decided to do. Now, I use adversity in the first place as a strength. So I decided to do everything I could to finally show him that I was actually having the right potential to do it. So at the age of 15, 1 year later, I became the Belgian champion under 16. And this is the moment when the federation decided finally to give me the financial support. But not only adversity helped me at that moment. I was very lucky that I had fantastic people around me. Being surrounded by people who believe in you, who help you actually to achieve your dream, it's essential. So my parents and my coach and my physical coach were the one really who helped me with a positive mindset to keep believing in my dream. So at the age of 18, because my parents said you need first to graduate before you turn pro, because you don't have for sure the security that you will be able to make it. So I combined between my 15 and 18 playing abroad tennis tournament with studying. It was a kind of challenge for me, but I still managed that. And at the age of 18, having my diploma in my hand and my tennis racket on the other hand, I was about 245 in the world. And I decided to give myself 2 years to be able to reach the top 100. After 2 years, if I didn't make it, then I will continue studying. But actually, after 6 months, I was already in the top 100. And I had about 10 years career on the professional tour. I achieved great performance, actually much better than I ever expected. I became the first Belgian tennis player to reach the top 10 in the world in 1999 and 1998. Both years, I was number 9 in the world. And in 2000, I got a bronze medal at the Olympic Games in Sydney with my double partner, Els Callens. So as you could see, I dreamed and my dream came true. Now, after 10 years being a professional on the tour, I decided to retire. Now, I learned a lot from the field, and these are 3 key elements that I would like to share with you. First of all, if you want to improve, if you want to get better, you will need to go out of your comfort zone. Standing a little bit too long in your comfort zone, even it's really comfortable, you will feel at a certain moment that you are standing still. In sports, it's even worse because you are going to go backwards. But do I really grow if I only go out of my comfort zone? Not necessary. Because what I learned from sports, if you want to grow, you need and to go out of your comfort zone. So you need to train, you need to practice, you need to get new skills, new capacities to improve and get great performance. But if you only practice all the time, you get exhausted. Do I really grow if I only go out of my comfort zone? No. What do I need to do next to that is actually also allowing myself to get sufficient recoveries. And that can be a challenge for some people. Because actually what I learned, if you are going out of your comfort zone and you are using your energy, if you never allowed yourself to get back energy on the other side by using recoveries such as sleep, paying attention to your nutrition, taking the time to move regularly, or having some hobbies, taking time sometimes to disconnect, then you realize that at a certain moment you will get exhausted. So it's really to try to find the balance between the two. And once you know yourself, and you know yourself by heart, it's easy after also to be allowing yourself to have the right recoveries. But on the other hand, it helps you also to be much more aware about your limits. I don't think that sports at the highest level is really healthy, because we always go close to our limits. If you go over our limits, then you realize that you have a problem. But the lucky that we have is that because we know ourselves by heart, we know also which kind of recoveries we will need to put in place to make sure that we go back under our limits. And that's the challenge. So as long as you want to grow, keep in mind that it's not because you are going to stretch yourself all the time that you are for sure going to improve. It's actually the combination of both things that helps you to improve and to grow and great performance. That's the first point. The second one goes about mental resilience. I come from tennis. Tennis is all about winning and losing. So it means in your career you have to learn to win, which is quite easy, but you have to learn losing as well. Sometimes you can also lose very badly. Personally, I played a lot of matches in my career. I was very fortunate, I won more than I lost, but I still lost 182 times. It means that it's 182 times that you fall down and you need to stand up again. Sometimes a bit more painful than other. Trust me, when you play at the French Open third round against Serena Williams and your match lasts for 40 minutes and you lose 6-love, 6-1, it hurts. Because you know that third of the stadium is full of Belgian people expecting you to do great performance, which was not the case. So it means that sometimes you lose badly, but you can still learn something from that. So that's why I love the sentence of Nelson Mandela. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. So as long as you take the defeat as a learning way to improve, you never really lost 100%. Now, because you learn a lot from situation when you play tennis, it helps you also to be much more aware about what are my strengths, what are the points that I need to improve. And no matter if I lost the match, you still did something good. So you have to be aware about what did I do good today. But on the other side, what do I need to improve as well? Being aware about your strength is so important, because keep in mind, it's because of your strength that you win. So you need to keep improving your strength. But on the other side, I lost my match, so it means that something went wrong. So I need to know exactly what happened during the match. I need to analyze it. So it means that analyzing will help me after to practice on a working point or the thing where I need to improve to get better the next time. Sometimes it's difficult to do it by yourself. You might analyze, but not always maybe with the right perception. So that's why I love feedback. For me, feedback is food for champions. Now, I don't know if I have champions here in the room, and if you like feedback. Well, I love feedback. Sometimes it's not necessarily always the feedback that you want to hear, but deep down, you know that this feedback can help you. After each match with my coach, we were always talking about the match, debriefing. What happened? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What should I improve the next time? And I first analyze my match. But then I get the feedback from my coach, which for me was very interesting because he gave me his perception from another angle, from a different point of view, which sometimes can be a detail, and the details can make the difference. So we didn't wait 2-3 weeks after the tournament to debrief. We always did it right after the match, because I knew that the feedback that he was giving me was a gift and helping me to improve and get better. So feedback for me was key. And remember, no matter the result that you will have, there is always something that you can analyze, because you know that there are things that you've been doing good, sometimes things that you are not doing good, but at the end of the story, if you do everything you can, you give yourself 100% chance to make it, even if the outcome is negative, you can look back and be proud of what you achieve. Now, the last part that I would like to share with you is about motivation. And motivation for me is key, because you realize that without motivation, especially when you have difficult period or difficult moment, sometimes it's difficult to find it. Now, I am a huge fan of Simon Sinek. He talks about the golden cycle. And there is one fundamental question that we can ask to ourselves, is not necessarily what do I do that motivates me, but more why do I do it? And that question, I use it a lot during my career. And not only for myself, because what happened regularly is that I got the question when I was younger, and even now I still get the question about, yeah, but when you were young and you were combining sports and tennis with your study, you did a lot of sacrifice. And I was a little bit surprised because actually for me, I never had the impression of making any sacrifices at that time. Actually, I wanted to fulfill my dream. I wanted to become the best tennis player in the world. So not going out with my friends, not drinking, partying all the time like they did, was actually for me common sense, because I knew that if I was going out, the next day it will have an impact for my practice. And because I wanted to become one of the best tennis players in the world, I didn't go out. So it never felt like a sacrifice. But it's good to keep in mind that at a certain moment, when you are starting doubting about yourself, always remember that question, because that question will give you the answer to why you are doing what you are doing. Now, it's not only the question that stimulates the motivation. I think for me, pleasure is something essential. If the pleasure is still there, you will have motivation. Even if sometimes it's difficult, as long as you have pleasure in what you are doing, no problem. But the day the pleasure is gone, trust me, motivation goes away. And this is what I experienced. Because actually, in 2000, when I retired, I was still number 18 in the world. I could have played for 2-3 more years, but I didn't enjoy anymore what I was doing. I didn't have the pleasure. Living for 42 weeks in a row, going abroad all the time, and I was achieving already all the goals that I wanted, and because the pleasure was gone, I started feeling that my motivation was gone. I didn't want to practice that much. I wanted to stay home. So instead of keep going, I decided finally to retire, just because the pleasure is gone. And the last thing that helps also for motivation is about celebrating successes and make them visible. I can compare a little bit my career to an attraction. It's like you are stepping in a roller coaster, you go all directions, you stepped out, you look back, and you realize, oh, this is everything that I've been achieving for the last 10 years. That's the impression that you have. So, because it goes so fast, everybody's improving, everyone to get better, you need, when you have the opportunity, to take the time to celebrate. I didn't win a lot of tournaments in my career. I played a lot of finals, unfortunately, but I won 4 tournaments on the tour. I took every time the occasion to celebrate with my coach. Because if I didn't do that, in tennis, each week is a new opportunity. Each week can be a new objective. So if I don't take the time to celebrate with my coach, then it's like a little bit you are reading a book, and finally you realize that you never close the book. And a lot of people said, yeah, but it's normal. Oh, you were the best player of the tournament, first seeded. It's normal that you win. There is nothing normal, because it's not because you are the best that automatically you will win, which is exactly the same for you. It's not because you have the capacities to do that, that it's normal that you achieve your goal. Not at all. There are so many things that can have impact on you. So taking the time to celebrate, even if it's for 15 minutes, it doesn't matter, but it really helps you to keep going and motivates you. Now, the other part is about making things visible. So making your success visible. In tennis, we are very lucky, because when you go on the site and on the internet, and you go on the WTA site, which all the players are, you just Google my name and you see appearing my name with all the success that I had. So the WTA does that for me. So they make them that visible. But I still do it for myself, because not making things visible, you might forget. And the day that you have difficulties to find the motivation, by the fact that you have put things visible and you look back, it helps you also to realize everything that you've been achieving. As I said, nothing is normal. So when you doubt about yourself, look back. Look all the things that you put in place to help you to achieve where you are at this moment. And for me, the greatest gift that I ever received when I was on the tour was not getting the rewards of being best sports personality of the year, or being the best sportswoman of the year, or winning tournaments. For me, the best gift I ever received was the one from the little girls who were coming to me to get an autograph, asking for a signature, and telling me actually they started to play tennis because they watched me on television and they wanted to become like me, a champion. I inspired them like I've been inspired by Chris Evertloyd. Thank you very much.